Hello everyone, welcome to the latest installment of Am I the Asshole? If you're a fan of hearing Reddit anecdotes, it would greatly benefit the channel if you liked or subscribed. Let's dive straight into our first story. Am I the asshole for demanding that my niece or her parents pay me back for the hundreds of dollars of perfume she stole from me? Note, I'm not involving the police, suing anyone, etc. Please don't try to argue with me about this or convince me why I should. I have a perfume collection that I started when I was a teenager, slinging burritos as my first job. I have over 400 bottles at this point. I take great pride in my collection, and I use it. I'm also happy to give people decants of most of my bottles, let them sample a spray or two, give some bottles as gifts, etc. What I have a huge effing issue with is my 17-year-old niece coming into my home under the guise of walking my dog, decanting bottles on her own, and selling the samples to her little friends. She thinks that because I have so many bottles, I wouldn't notice some missing or getting massive dents in them. Well, little Miss Entrepreneur failed to realize that her private Instagram wasn't friends only or whatever, and I saw each and every effing story with each price and sample she had. I tallied that shit up and got a pretty good estimate based on cost per ounce. Thankfully, she mostly picked the TikTok famous perfumes like Bianco Latte and Escapade Gourmand and didn't go for the most rare niche perfumes. She did snatch an entire 2.5 aughts bottle of Baccarat Rouge, though, which runs $300 at most retailers, as well as full bottles of perfumes you can get at Sephora, like Marc Jacobs Daisy, Burberry Her Elixir, Flower Bomb, etc. Petty or not, I printed out the entire list of what she'd taken, price estimate, and handed it off to my sister, her mom. I said that I expect to be paid back, in full, and of course, her effing sneaky little ass is never allowed in my home again. My sister got super pissy with me, going on about how my niece is just a kid, kids make mistakes, etc. I said yes, kids make mistakes, and this is a great way for my niece to learn from hers. Their argument is that now the money she was going to use for a car has to go towards paying me back. I don't care. She is lucky that I have no interest in involving the police, small claims, or any of that. But am I the asshole because she is a teenager? She's just a kid who created a successful business enterprise selling stolen property, not the asshole. This is part of what bugs me. If she had come to me and asked me if she could sell a handful of her friends some samples, I might have entertained the idea. I know getting samples for niche perfumes is a hassle, but nope, she screwed herself out of that one. Not the asshole. I can see from the fact that her mom considers a 17-year-old just a kid, as if she were a 5-year-old who stole a cookie before dinner, has caused her to act very entitled. She made a series of decisions to steal from you and profit from it, and she's either just a kid when she's stealing pricey scents, or she's an almost adult saving up for a car. Can't have it both ways on your dime. You'll be teaching her a better lesson than her mom bothered to. Not the asshole. Note, I'm not involving the police, suing anyone, etc. Please don't try to argue with me about this or convince me why I should. Understood, but your niece is very lucky you are taking this approach. Their argument is that now the money she was going to use for a car has to go towards paying me back. I don't care. Of course it has to go to paying you back. Why would you buy your niece a car? If she didn't have to pay you back, that is what would be happening with extra steps. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay a neighborhood kid for cutting my lawn when I didn't ask him to? I, 29 male, recently bought my first house. I'm settling in, and like the neighborhood, and a few neighbors even came by to say hello. They included a woman, 43 female, and her 13-year-old son. Not long after, I was on my couch one afternoon and saw the son outside, mowing my front lawn. I was confused, since I'd never asked him to and he'd never offered. I went out and politely asked him why he was doing it. He said he did it for lots of neighbors, and quickly added they give him $5 for it. I found it really weird, so thanked him for the partial work he'd done, before explaining that since I hadn't asked or wanted him to do it, I wasn't going to be paying him. He said okay, and quietly left my lawn. I figured that might be the end of it. Just a kid trying to make some money, resolved with no harm done, end of story. But the next day, his mom arrived on my doorstep and angrily asked me why I hadn't paid her son. I basically repeated what I'd said to her son, but she wouldn't accept it. She just kept saying that it was a kind gesture and that he does it for all the other neighbors. She also said $5 isn't a lot of money, and I could have just gave it to him. I kept trying to explain that an agreement like that needs to be set up ahead of time. Otherwise, it's nothing more than a random demand for money. But she basically tuned me out and ended up walking away as I was talking. I was amazed the adult in the situation was handling it worse than the literal child was. I'm wondering how much longer this will go on for. That was last week. Every time I've seen her since, she stared daggers at me or made a show of crossing the street to avoid me. I'm not instigating anything further. I really have no desire to speak to her. But I'm thinking she might try to send her poor kid back to collect the money, or even mow the lawn again. I've vented about this to family and friends, and while most seem to agree with me, some said I should have been grateful and paid the boy, and just told them from then on not to mow the lawn. I can't tell if I've been an ass here, or if my reaction to the whole thing was entirely justified. Not the asshole. I kind of feel bad for that kid, because it sounds like his mom is teaching him that he can get stuff for completely unsolicited help. I feel bad for him too. He seems like a nice kid. His mom's behavior is what I take issue with. I think the kid doesn't get to keep the money. Mom takes it. That's why she was so pissed. Asking for money for services that weren't requested after the fact is not a kind gesture. It's a trap, not the asshole. Yeah, this is a pretty common scam, providing a service that wasn't requested and then demanding payment. Mom is teaching him to scam. OP is teaching him that it doesn't always work. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.